So by now you all have probably seen my comparison video between the Ace Pro 2, the Osmo Action 5 Pro, and the GoPro Hero 13 Black. And in that video I did include some samples, but it was mostly based on the usability features because I do think that those are some of the distinguishing features between all these cameras. But I also wanted to do one more video showing just raw, unedited comparison footage because, you know, my opinions of which camera are best, people may not agree. Like, you may not agree. You might have some other opinions.
I don't really care for the so-called usability bells and whistles. I care for the best image quality and the best audio, ultimately. And the camera which enables me the most to do my videos. And I've been using the GoPro for a while, and I just started a new channel which is like long form, just like this, walking and talking to the camera. And what I need is a camera which makes me look good, makes my surroundings good, and I can turn it around freely. It doesn't have any problems with the stabilization. I don't have to slowly go like this with the gimbal. I just want to be enabled to flow and go fast and film myself.
Yeah, so that channel, it's called Gemini Walk and Talk, and there's only a few videos there, but they're all filmed with the GoPro Hero 13 Black. So if you want to see, you know, footage from that camera, then that's a really good channel with lots of examples on it. But yeah, we thought we'd talk about, you know, what we're looking for in a vlogging camera, because I still think that there's not the optimal camera out there, despite all of our options these days.
And this is a good time to tell you about our sponsor, you. We don't have a sponsor for this video.
That is true. I actually should have opened with that. I will probably put that early on. But yes, all these cameras were gifted to us by their respective brands, but they did not pay us. They're not reviewing this video. They didn't ask us to make this video. Some may not want us to make this video, but we're gonna make it anyway because we want to know which one looks best.
Yeah, I'm personally actually curious because I have not had a chance to look at the footage side by side, and I actually want to know because I started this new channel and I want to know which camera I should use, and they're all at home, so let's just give them a spin as I would in my day-to-day video production.
Yeah, got you.
I'm escaping.
You're escaping. Oh no. Oh no.
So is that one?
My experience with the GoPro 13 has been that it is good looking. I wonder how it looks against these two cameras which just came out, because, you know, if they look any better, I'll use them. That's really my criteria. Big part of that is really how they make humans look and faces look, because so many cameras, they over sharpen or they over process the look, and it makes you look ancient. And so, you know, if you're like a baby, 2 years old or whatever, it's okay. But as you start aging, you don't want that necessarily. And no one is really as close to you as these cameras are to us in your daily life. So it ends up with a not flattering image. So the camera has to give your face, you know, a good treatment. And I always say this in these videos: when they take the glamour photos of the models, they don't sharpen the hell out of them. They soften them quite a bit.
Yeah, to be fair, I guess this is a point to talk about how we use action cameras. We use them to vlog primarily. I mean, sometimes we do action, but we primarily use them as vlogging cameras. So that's why we're, you know, emphasizing that point that we want our faces to look good, because that's primarily what these cameras are shooting for our use case. And
it's not just us, truly. The reason we use them like this is because we want to move through space. We don't want to just stay planted and talk in a bedroom. And, you know, all to those people who can make that interesting, but I'd rather be out in the world and do things as I'm making my videos. And so there's a big reason to use an action camera. No other camera is as enabling for that style. And if you look at very successful channels like Bold and Bankrupt and Kurt Katz, and all of them use such a camera, they have millions of views. You don't see really complaints that it's low quality or low budget or anything like that.
They're using an ancient camera. It's like one of the original action cameras, that Sony X3000 or whatever that thing's called. Like, they're using an old camera, getting millions of views. So there's something to be said about the tech and how it's not really about the tech, it's really about the content, you know?
And that camera is interesting because when it came out, for so long it was actually the best camera for such usage. It was the best when it comes to stability, to making you look good, for getting audio. It met those criteria very, very well a long time ago. And it took a long time until all these little cameras by other competitors like GoPro and the rest catch up, and mostly through external microphones and stuff are able now to beat their quality, and with the hyper smooth and its analog technologies. So that took what, 10 years until they get to that level? So why is Sony doing nothing for 10 years?
They're not doing nothing. So Sony did release, I forgot the name of the RX100 or RX0
It sounds
or
about
something
right.
like that. Yeah, like a little boxy camera. It looks kind of like a GoPro. It had that little flippy screen even before Insta360 had one. But there were a couple of problems with it from what I understand. I never actually tried it myself, but I've heard enough about it and seen the footage. The lens was a little too close. It was a 24mm, which, okay, you have no distortion, but if you're going to be vlogging and holding the camera, then that's way too close to your face.
Right, so the wide angle is one of the requirements for such a style of vlogging, because you're holding it near you like
Right.
this.
Wide angle, but not so wide that you get that fisheye effect.
So that's
you know?
another, you want a camera that does not distort the world too much and your arms look like spaghetti monster. And until now, at least, GoPro has been the best at that with linear, makes the world look just fine. I don't know how the competitors add up at this point.
So I will say that, you know, Ace Pro 2, they added linear, so they now have a linear profile, so it gets a little bit closer to GoPro. And the DJI actually has the least amount of in-lens FOV choices. They only have 3. Everyone else gives you a lot more than that. And actually the Insta also just added the new Mega FOV, which is supposed to be wider but with less distortion. So we might want to try that one out and see how we like that as well.
And the other huge improvement in that area has been the horizon leveling, which makes that whole boat effect go away. It makes your footage so solid, and I think everyone has it at this point.
Yeah, everyone in the action camera world, but the thing is, you know, with phones, right? I always talk about how phones are great to use for photos and videos, but phones do not have horizon leveling. And whenever they do, I think they'll become a little bit more viable for using for vlogging, but that's one of the things that they're lacking compared to action cameras.
Right, so, you know, with all these things said, and the fact that Sony and Fuji and others still make vlogging cameras that you have to plant, you can't move through space with them. They
Jitter a lot.
Right, yeah.
Compared to an action camera.
Right, you wouldn't be so nice. So then nothing has truly come onto the market which satisfies all these requirements. And so to me, for what I want to do as a video producer, that's really my main requirement, is the stable, nice image quality, gets me in view, gets my environment, and makes it look real.
What's going on? Who's over there?
You're not taller than me.
Yeah, I'm not. You're the tallest one right now.
You two are tiny.
Okay, the other thing we want to test out is the sharpness levels. So we have been shooting on low sharpness for all of them, -1 for the DJI, up until now. So now we're on 0 for the DJI and medium sharpness for the rest.
Okay, I have been shooting with the GoPro at low sharpness because it's softest, but to me it's actually a little bit fuzzy, and it's when I watch it on the 65-inch TV, which is high definition and everything, and the color is all jacked and it looks a bit fuzzy to me. Maybe if I'm like 10-20 feet back it will look better, and on a phone it looks just perfect, but we're now shooting 4K and sharp, and this might be too sharp. I don't know, so we'll see. You've been testing these 3 cameras, so how are the
Yeah.
medium looks on them?
In my opinion, medium is too much, especially on GoPro. But you know, that's my opinion. And the thing with sharpness is you can always add it in post-production. So if you want to bump up your sharpness later, you can. So I think it's better to have a base that is less sharp. But you know, my opinion. Right now you're seeing all the footage side by side, so you guys can tell us what you think about medium sharpness. We're not going to test high sharpness, by the way, because no, you just don't ever want to shoot in high sharpness.
Right.
It's too much.
It's forbidden.
Yeah.
The other thing about this conversation is that the color matters. So typically when you're shooting a human subject, you don't want the color to have too much contrast and to have too much saturation. You want it to be more so neutral.
Yeah.
And so let's wait for this thing to go by.
This is a good test actually.
Sound
Noisy
test.
trucks going by right now. So let's see if any of them are picking this up. We will talk sound after this. But yeah, let's talk more about the color. No, in a helicopter
In
now.
a helicopter,
A lot
yeah.
of noise for you guys.
Well, that's the real world, you know. It's
It
the
is.
things we gotta deal with.
Yeah.
So yeah, about the colors, you don't want a camera that makes you look too vibrant or saturated. You don't want to look too orange, you know. Orange meant bad, right?
Yeah.
But you want a look that makes you look flattering. And in the world of cameras, to me, the gold standard for that is really the film before digital. And Fujifilm, for example, simulates that to the best of their abilities. And it makes you look like art. It's great. Out of camera, it's fantastic. But for some reason, none of these cameras are able to do this. Perhaps it takes too much processing to do it for every frame of video that they're recording, because Fuji does it, but typically does it for photos. Their video also does it, but then they don't do the stabilization on top and all the other things that these smaller cameras do with their processors.
The conversation we had that sparked this video actually was talking about the cameras that had the best colors. And Fujifilm, I would say, is definitely up there. It also kind of softens your skin.
It does,
I wish Fuji made a good vlogging camera. The only thing they're really lacking is that stability. They just
Exactly.
can't do it, but their colors, really, really good for vlogging. But the other one I'd put up there is also Sony. Because of their skin softening feature, like it softens your skin without making you look, you know, too, the sharpness isn't too low. So those two cameras, they only made really good stable vlogging cameras.
So again,
All
in different cameras, Sony has done the right color profile for skin, and had also the little mini camcorder that was the original kind of action cam that you could carry around without worrying about stability. So Sony has actually done it all, but not in the same camera.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, you know, Sony, why don't you just make the perfect camera already?
Yes, please.
Which is funny, you know, the camera conspiracy guy jokes about the perfect camera, and we're all chasing it for decades.
We're still chasing it in 2024. It doesn't exist yet.
But Sony has one and two they can combine and actually make the perfect camera.
Right.
If they were, especially if they were to steal Fuji's color profiles, because Sony makes Fuji's sensors, so they actually could. You know,
Yeah.
they have all the technology it takes, and they've done it before.
But going back to the colors and even the sharpness, so what I've started doing, and I'm telling Martin this too, like this is why I personally prefer the DJI Action 5 Pro. You know, you guys might be seeing right now that the color, it looks a little too processed when it's coming straight out of camera. But I personally don't shoot that way. I shoot in D-Log. I shoot in log profile because I also like to shoot with the Pocket 3, and I also shoot in log for that one. So when I'm blending all the clips together, I can do that really easily. But also, it just flattens your colors out so you can add the color back to whatever degree you want to. And your footage is also, you know, not too sharp. I think it makes your face look the best.
So no doubt about it, if you're any kind of serious media producer, video producer, you should be shooting in log, because that's how you're gonna standardize and get the most out of your footage and colors. But for what I've been doing, for example, my videos have been coming out 40 minutes long. So I'm out there, I'm shooting 40 minutes, and then I've been able to edit them so quickly to put them out within like an hour or two after coming home. And if I had to mess with log, perhaps it's gotten easier, perhaps not. I'm also editing on an ancient 2015 iMac, so then yet another layer of post-processing I gotta, you know, pile on there. So I don't know if I want that sort of thing on top of my workflow, but I'm willing to try it for the sake of just truly seeing where things are, because previously it wasn't really a viable option for the type of videos I make, like a long form commentary, show the world around you, you know, like similar to what I'm doing on the Gemini Walk and Talk channel. Is similar to a walking tour, but it also has commentary over it.
Okay, so we switched everything over to log. The only thing that Insta is kind of failing at right now is that they only shoot in 8-bit. They don't shoot in 10-bit, and that really starts to show in log footage. But everybody else is in 10-bit.
So now we're gray and the world is gray, and it is depressing, but we're gonna make it nice and colorful in post-production.
Yeah, this
All right.
is what it looks like.
People have more and more just wanting just raw footage, you know, no shilling, just show me the real thing.
Right.
You know, there's been like a shilling overload where people can only take so much shilling in life. I mean, it's true. Like, you're like, oh my God, another shill. You know, it's like...
I'm sorry, I know I add to that a little bit, but you know, I'm trying to make these videos to balance it out, you know, because sometimes you have to just get the facts, right? Like, this is what's new about it. That's what you want to know. But then you also want to know, how does it look straight out of the camera? So that's what this video is for. So one other thing that we should talk about is audio. We probably don't have a lot of comments about it. I mean, I can make some bets about which one might sound the best because I have, you know, listened to some of the footage. But in this test, we're not going to add external microphones. We're just, you know, going internal mics. This is what it sounds like. The DJI and, the Ace Pro and the GoPro both give you the option to add like a voice isolation feature. So that's what we're shooting on. DJI does not. So this is what it sounds like.
So this is straight out of camera. I have not tried the voice isolation features, but I have found that for me, the naked version, whatever you call it, the out of the box version of audio on any of these cameras is unacceptable because I rely so much on my commentary in my videos, like I'm trying to talk a lot, and I come out here where there's cars and I'm often pushing our baby in the stroller, just like Susie's right now, and there's too much background noise. I'm using the Rode Wireless, the last one, the Pro. Yeah, and so I'm using a lav mic. It has a wind muff because it's often windy in the fall here by the lake and stuff like that, or just too much noise wherever I go to my commentary and my walking tours. So I actually rely on these cameras to allow me to easily extend them with a good quality microphone. So that matters to me too, which camera makes it easiest for me to get the best sound out of them.
So before I comment on that, two things. Number one, your voice is a lot louder than mine. So I do feel like, you know, you guys can tell us if we don't know the results right now, but maybe you can hear him better, even with the cars going by on the side versus me. I'm sure you can't hear me as well, but that's one thing. The other thing is that the Ace Pro 2 has a physical wind guard on the front-facing microphone. So in my testing, it's been very effective, but we'll see today because it is somewhat windy now that we're by the lake.
Not very badly though, like it's not a true windy day. Wind matters a whole lot, so like many days it just completely ruins my audio, and if I don't have the lav with the fuzzy muffler, and I often, even if just my phone, the wind gets in there so hard it just makes that audio pretty atrocious. And my idea of a channel is that you know, people do talk shows, they do commentary shows, they do radio shows, they do podcasts, but they're sitting in a stuffy studio talking. Well, why don't I take that idea and go into the world, which is beautiful and vast and interesting, and do the show from there? For that I need very good audio because you don't want all that junk noise when people are listening for a long time.
All right, so I know I said we weren't going to do an external microphone test, but I changed my mind. I think it's important enough, or I'm curious enough, that we're going to do it anyway. So this is first testing out the GoPro Hero 13 Black with the Rode Wireless Pro attached. The receiver is attached to the media mod, so that's how you would attach an external microphone to the GoPro. You can also attach like a Bluetooth microphone, a wireless like this DJI Mic 2. But I do find that the audio quality isn't so good. I will do a test so you can hear that as well. But the other benefit to doing connecting the microphone this way is that you can do internal recording on the transmitter for the Rode. So here's what it would sound like if you took that audio directly from the Rode versus recording the audio to the camera via the Rode. Now we have the DJI Mic 2 connected via the 3.5 millimeter microphone jack to the receiver that is plugged into the GoPro Media Mod. So this is what it sounds like. And again, the advantage to doing it this way is that I can enable internal recording on the transmitter, because if we connect via Bluetooth, we can't do that with the DJI mic. So this is what it sounds like recording to the internal storage on the DJI Mic 2 transmitter. And finally, for the GoPro, this is the DJI Mic 2 transmitter connected wirelessly via Bluetooth to the GoPro. And again, the main disadvantage to doing this is that, well, there's a couple actually. I do believe that the audio quality is not as good when you're connected via Bluetooth versus plugging in the receiver. And also, you cannot enable internal recording on the transmitter. It only works with DJI devices. Next up, we are testing out the DJI Osmo Action 5 Pro with the DJI Mic 2 transmitter wirelessly connected via Bluetooth. Once again, the main advantage is that the connection is a lot faster, it's more stable, it's more reliable, and I believe that the audio quality is better when the Mic 2 is connected to a DJI camera, like the Action 5. And we can also enable internal recording, so that's really nice to be able to have that as a backup. The other thing we can do is take the receiver from the DJI Mic 2 microphone kit, and we can plug that into the Action 5 Pro, so we're going to do that next. So now I have the receiver from the DJI Mic 2 microphone kit plugged into the side of the Action 5 Pro. The nice thing about this is that we can do it just by plugging in that receiver via USB-C to the side of the camera, so no cables are required. And yeah, I'm not actually sure if there's an audio quality difference. There actually might be, as opposed to, you know, just connecting wirelessly via Bluetooth to the camera. So this is what it sounds like. And once again, we can enable internal recording, which is always a good thing. Okay, next up, we're jumping over to the Insta360 Ace Pro 2 because for the DJI, as far as I know, you cannot connect something like the Rode Wireless Pro or Rode Wireless Go to that camera because you can't connect it via USB-C, and there's not an official DJI 3.5mm mic adapter that I know of. I think they're really pushing their own microphone products for their cameras, which makes total sense as a business decision. But anyway, we're over on the Insta360 Ace Pro 2, and we've got the DJI Mic 2 transmitter and the receiver. The receiver is plugged into the side of the camera because now you can do that. You can just plug in the USB-C receiver directly to the camera and be able to use your wireless microphone. I tried this with the Rode, it did not work, so right now I believe it is only supported by DJI, maybe some other microphones, but they're primarily using it for DJI mic support, which again is nice because you can be cable free. And this way, we can enable internal recording on the transmitter because we can also connect via Bluetooth, and we will do that test next. But in my previous test, that does degrade the audio quality. So this might help you keep better audio quality. So now on the Insta360 Ace Pro 2, I'm really liking that wider field of view. It's pretty nice. But anyway, we have the DJI Mic 2 transmitter connected wirelessly via Bluetooth. So here's what it sounds like versus connecting via the receiver. And once again, the main restriction here is that the audio quality, I believe, is slightly degraded, and also we cannot enable internal recording on the transmitter as a backup. Finally, we have the Rode Wireless Pro attached via the receiver to the Insta360 Ace Pro 2. We cannot do Bluetooth wireless connection to the camera, but we can attach the receiver. But you have to get this little mic adapter that Insta360 sells for this camera. And so this is one of the clunkier setups just because, just the whole way that you attach the receiver. I wish it sat nicely on top of the camera like it does with the GoPro Media Mod, although the Media Mod still has its cons. Like, I'm not a big fan of the Media Mod either, but if you really want to attach a receiver, this is how you would do it on the Insta360. And this is the audio quality. And again, we can enable internal recording this way. So this is what it would sound like with internal recording. And this is our final external microphone test that I'm going to do, because these are the primary microphones that we like to use with our action cameras when we're out vlogging.
So DJI makes it easiest to put the wireless mic, but they have this shady tactic of destroying the sound of their competitors. so they don't let that work if you add a different microphone.
I get it from a business perspective, but it is a little bit like, wow, that's cold-hearted.
Well, I prefer the sound of Rode. Rode is an audio company, they make microphones for a living.
Yeah.
And so when a drone company comes out and says, I'll make an action camera and a microphone that don't sound as good as Rode, and I'll force you to use my microphone, I'm like, I'd rather use my GoPro with my Rode at that point.
But it is more convenient. So, you know, if you don't want to add the receiver and deal with the cables and all that, then, you know, that's another reason why I like the DJI personally, because I do use that transmitter a lot. I can use them interchangeably between the Action 5 and the Pocket 3. So, again, my preference.
So the Pocket 3 is an interesting point of view because there is a scenario which we haven't touched upon where you actually need to supplement footage, and that is when it's dark. And these action cameras start failing and it just does not look pretty. But the Pocket 3 does look very pretty. I took it for a spin in Paris as night was falling and the footage looked gorgeous. And so, you know, I'm in a beautiful place, the night is falling, this is a magical moment, and if I have my action cam on, it looks like trash.
Well, he has only tested out the GoPro in low light, and you guys know GoPro, I'm sorry, but you're horrible in low light. DJI and Insta, I mean, we'll add some low light footage because who needs to see?
I saw it on your computer, it's still
better.
unacceptable for me. I mean, it's Paris, like
Yeah.
Monet was painting Paris,
Fine,
you know. It's
fine.
not gonna look like trash and digital noise when Monet paints Paris.
Fine. Well, it is evening time. It's about 20 minutes after sunset, and Leo and I are out for an evening walk to record some low light footage so that you guys can see what these cameras look like in low light. You might notice that there's only two cameras, so we're only testing out the Insta360 Ace Pro 2 and the DJI Osmo Action 5 Pro because GoPro just, you know, I'll show you a little clip, but like they're just not even in the running for low light shooting. Like I love GoPro, but not in low light. No, no, no. So this is what it looks like. We are shooting in the low light modes for both cameras. That is pure video mode, pure video plus actually, because we're in 4K 30 on the Insta, and super night mode on the DJI. So the DJI just got a firmware update fairly recently, and so one of the things it did is it gives you the option to shoot in a high bitrate, and from what I've seen from other tests, that does slightly improve the stabilization at night in particular. So we're going to see if that is true in my tests here. We do have that new firmware installed, and we're also going to do some tests with the DJI not in the super night mode because previously I found it to be a little over sharpened, but perhaps that firmware update corrected things. So we'll swap between the two and you guys can be the judge if it's any better or not. For low light testing, still in the low light shooting modes for both cameras. This is before we start moving, and this is as we start moving. So we'll see how these cameras hold up with the movement that we're introducing into the frame right now. And here is the vlogging perspective in this low light city-ish environment. We do have a lot of street lights, so that is probably helping a little bit. But yeah, here's what it looks like and sounds like. Low light mode for both cameras. So now I've turned off the low light shooting mode for the DJI. We're just shooting in normal video, and at least on the screen it's looking a lot better to me. It's looking a lot less sharp because now in this mode we have control over the sharpness of the image. So this is what it looks like. Now walking with the same settings in that normal video mode and low light with the DJI. Here's what it looks like and sounds like. Also, we're shooting in linear for the Insta and standard dewarp for the DJI, and I can see in the screens that the Insta is definitely a lot wider. It's capturing more of the scene. This is true in low light and in bright light, by the way. So yes, some of you may agree with him, some of you may agree with me. I think that action cameras are significantly better than what they used to be in low light. Are they the very best? No, but that, you know, that is why I have the Pocket 3. For times like that, when I want a close-up shot with a blurred out background, that's what the Pocket 3 is also great at. And anything to do with the gimbal including low light footage.
Exactly, so for that reason DJI actually has an edge because of the interchangeability with the pocket on a gimbal that does do low light, and then the microphone is all ready to go, and that's a very viable option day and night, and it does look great.
So those are more or less all of the features that we want to see in our ideal vlogging camera, and so far such a camera does not exist yet. Where's Juju? Where are you? Where are you? Are you hiding? Are you hiding? You're still hiding? Where'd you go? Watch out. Watch where you're going.